everyone, my name is Cucumber Boy, and today we're going to be reading some scary stories that I found on Reddit. The first one is called Before You, and it's written by a user called By Wonderful. Before you, I could sleep through the night. There was no walking with a coat sweat at every single sound. Before you, I didn't always look over my shoulder, paranoid and scared of who may be walking behind me. Before you, I was happy, carefree, just a regular young woman. I wasn't perfect, but I wasn't bad either. I made mistakes just like everyone else, but what 25-year-old doesn't? But making the mistake of meeting you, by our path simply crossing, well, didn't that need to really change the whole rest of our life, did it? I told myself it didn't. I justified what I had done, and what was I about to do? I worked through the night, and I did what I could, cleaned up what I could. The hole was messy to dig, and it took so long, out there in the dark, my phone in one hand being used to touch as a torch. A hole I shoved dirt with the other. Getting the blood from the number plate took some scrubbing, and yeah, replacing the front end would have been easier, but it would have drawn questions I just couldn't answer. And despite everything, despite the fact I had accidentally beeped someone, just seemed to go on. I went with the motions, pretending I was normal, smiling with my co-workers, attending my regular Sunday roast dinners with my family. Outside I was just regular me, but inside I was screaming. Every time headlights flashed, I waited to see cops. My breath bated, but they never came. No one did. I looked for your missing persons case online, but there wasn't anyone. There was nothing. I'd glance in your wallet before I buried you, your smiling face on your ID, showing me the man you were once. Underneath the damage I had caused you, I knew your name, your address. I repeated them over and over, out loud every single night as I laid restless in bed, haunted by your absent presence. I tried to keep busy and do good things. I volunteered at an animal shelter. I knitted beanies and donated them to the hospital for premature babies. I wanted to help to do something good in the world for the bad I'd caused. But no matter what I did, I saw your mangled beep whenever I closed my eyes. I heard my tires screech, the sound of your beep connecting with the ground relayed over in my head. When the guilt got too much, I drove to your house. I sat in the car, the engine turned off, turned to find the courage to go inside. I instead waited for a while. I waited and watched your wife prepare dinner through the window, seemingly blissful and totally unaware of the horror I was about to train on her. After a while, I gathered my strength and got out of the car. I was ready to knock at the door and turn myself in, tell her what happened to her husband. I knew she would call the police, and I was ready. I couldn't live with this guilt any moment longer. It was eating me up, swallowing me whole. And then you came out and sat at the dinner table, wondering and wearing the same crinkled shirt and smile I so vividly remember from your driving license. Goosebumps filled my arms, my heart hammering in my chest, as I quickly got back into my car and drove off. Now I'm here, home again, sipping a mug of tea that's long gone cold, and really, I'm feeling quite uneasy. I can't see the small mound of freshly overturned dirt where I sat, and my thoughts are consuming me. The most palpable ones I can't fathom finding the answers to. I wonder one is a short story written by Feeling Sky 7775. It's called These Are Not My Real Parents. From a young age, I knew this wasn't my family. It's not that they were unkind to me, it's just it didn't feel right. I was outsider in my own home. I isolate myself from them, and I just know they like it that way. They will act like they want my company, but they only do this to build up a facade. Unlike my parents, I'm always felt a strong sense of closeness to my neighbours, the Hansons. I felt it in my blood. They were my family. I don't know how my parents did it. Kidnapping, switching at birth, illegal adoption. I can't prove it, but I know it. I started visiting them a month ago. I could tell after a few drop-bys they started to get uneasy. It was like they were scared. I'm certain my parents were threatening them. When I first spoke with Sally and George, they insisted they never had any children. I was almost convinced they meant it. When I kept pressing them, they asked me not to visit again. So plan B it was. Obviously they felt threatened to reveal the truth to me, face to face, so I had to be a bit more discreet. At first I would hide in the shrubs behind their window at night, but it was impossible to hear anything from outside. Soon after, I started to sneak into their basement, in hopes the walls were thin enough. Their basement window were always unlocked, but unfortunately all I could hear was muffled noises. I finally came up with a foolproof plan. One week, when they were out of town, I saw Sally leave a spare key under her doormat for the housekeeper. They got back this evening and it was easy enough to slip right in after I got off school. I told my parents I was studying with a friend. I've been sitting here waiting in their pantry for about 3 hours. There's about no mention of my name, but surely they are waiting until after dark to have these types of careful conversations. Finally they sat on the couch with the lights dim. I could hear Sally whispering something to George, but I couldn't make out what they said. I leaned closer, my ear closer to the door, knocking over a jar as I stepped forward. "Did you hear that?" George said softly. I crouched down but lost my balance and fell on a row of shelves. "Ouch," I blurted. Hearing some rustling, "Show yourself, it was now or never." I creaked open the door. "Mom, Dad, it's just me." A sharp pain shook my chest. I looked up to see George was pointing a shotgun at me. My shirt soaked with blood, and I collapsed to the floor. They stood over me in horror. On their faces, and my heart sank. But I don't understand. I'm your son. Thank you for listening to my recitation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, let me know if you want me to do any more whispering ASMRs or normal talking voices. Thank you.